Senator Bernie Sanders jumped into the debate over the H-1B visa program while calling out Elon Musk's support of it. So he writes this on X: Elon Musk is wrong. I mean, you could just leave it there and be correct. I mean, pick the subject, right? Elon Musk is wrong, period. But no, he continues. He says, the main function of the H-1B visa program is not to hire the best and the brightest, but rather to replace good-paying American jobs with low-wage indentured servants from abroad. The cheaper the labor they hire, the more money the billionaires make. Yeah, look, I can't say that he's wrong about that, especially from the whole indentured servants thing, because H-1B guest workers are just guests, and they are tied to their employment with not a lot of room to switch employers, if their working conditions are bad or if their hours are too much. So anyway, he's right about that. Now, this fight has not only been between factions of MAGA, as I've talked about plenty, but now is involving liberals versus progressives. So unfortunately, you've got pro-business liberals siding with the H-1B as it currently exists. People like Matt Iglesias and others, especially now that Bernie Sanders has weighed in, which apparently Bernie Sanders still gets the goat of a lot of mainstream liberals. They're not happy with him. And so there's a lot of resentment there, even though Sanders is right on not every issue, but a lot of them in his criticisms. That said, he pushed back not only against Trump and Musk, but also those people, and was armed with facts. For example, he cited labor figures, Census Bureau data, and the hiring track record of one of Musk's companies, specifically Tesla, even though you could also talk about Amazon, you could talk about IBM, a lot of these gigantic tech companies that have been abusing this program to the detriment of not only these workers who don't have a lot of rights, but also the communities here in America, which are, deprived of the spending money that these workers would put back into the community. And so, yeah, there's a lot of people that are hurt by this, American workers, of course. And this, as a result of this exploitation. Now, he said this: if there's really a shortage of skilled tech workers in America, why did Tesla lay off over 7,500 American workers this year, including many software developers and engineers at its factory in Austin, Texas, while being approved to employ thousands of H-1B guest workers? Now, well, hold on. I was told that this problem, by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, is because Americans are too stupid to get these jobs done. That's what I'm told. That's what we've all been told. Like, oh, you guys are dumb. In America, we don't celebrate education here. We celebrate the jock instead of the nerd. Okay. Well, I mean, if that was the case, then it would mainly be because of the right wing that doesn't like education, that calls college education woke, indoctrination centers. So if this is true, and I no, it's not, but if this is true, then it would be the fault of a lot of right wingers. So that, demonize education all the time. So anyway, that they claim though that I see it's the problem is these Americans are too stupid to do these jobs. That's why we have to hire guest workers. We would love to hire American, but we just can't find enough qualified ones. No. There's plenty of qualified Americans. The only issue here is that they want work-life balance, for one, and they want to get paid a fair wage. Silicon Valley is one of the places that has an incredibly high standard of living. You need a lot of money to live there, okay? Because the tech bros and the costs of living have gone up so much as a result of the gentrification. in those areas that, yeah, you need a really good salary to even live there, to much less buy a home, raise a family. And of course, you also have to have time to raise that family. And with these 60, 70 hour, 80 hour day, 90 hour weeks, you don't really have that. And that's what American workers want. So no, American workers, it's not that they don't want to work, or it's not that they're not smart enough to do these jobs. It's that they don't want to be exploited. That's it. That's it. Now, foreign workers, again, for them, it's like, well, I don't know if I'm being exploited. I kind of am, but the pay is a lot better than what we would get staying in, for example, India, right? Where the pay is going to be a lot less for doing these jobs. So yeah, I'm gonna make more money. I'm gonna send a lot of it back to my family, and that's gonna raise our standard of living. That's why I don't blame the workers for doing this. That's why the fault for these programs is on the ability to, of course, circumvent the whole point of the program, which is actually to bring in high-skilled workers, okay? But they have subverted it to where they're not just bringing in high-skilled workers, they're bringing in workers who work for far, far less, while there are high-skilled American workers here that are, ready and willing to do those jobs and able to do those jobs, but require more pay. And these companies just don't want to do it. So no, they're specifically, these companies are firing American workers. They're hiring guest workers to replace them at lower salaries. And Sanders pointed at Tesla's starting rate for H-1B guest workers. For example, jobs like associate accountant, associate mechanical engineer, and associate material planners. They pay around $58,000, $70,000, and $80,000 a year, respectively. And you might think, whoa, wait a minute, that's more than the median, average American worker is getting paid. Well, that's because the median average American worker is getting shafted, okay? And it's, again, when you're looking at the costs of living in Silicon Valley, it's a lot more than the median. One of the most expensive places to live in the United States, along with, New York and other places. And so Sanders says, those don't sound like highly specialized jobs that are for the top 0.1%, as Musk claimed this week. Yeah. And by the way, associate positions, right? I looked into it, and the average salary for an associate mechanical engineer in San Jose ranges around $100,000 to $160,000 a year. Okay, you can get away with paying around $70,000 for that position. That is a significant amount of savings for a company. Okay, and again, it's also better, good for the guest worker who will send that money back to their home country, but terrible for the American worker who took out student loan debt to be qualified for that job. Okay, and has to be able to afford to live in Silicon Valley. But it's also exploitation for that guest worker, even despite the fact that they are making more money. They're not getting the same rate of pay as the American worker would, and their immigration status is directly linked to their employment status, and so, yeah, there's a bit of an imbalance here. Okay, and look, the idea that they are better workers, they're inherently smarter, et cetera, et cetera. No. These CEOs are hiring guest workers because they're more compliant. And the reason that they're more compliant is because they have less rights. If you start asking for rights, you get sent back and you lose this opportunity. And so there's that massive power imbalance between boss and employee, especially, again, if you're an immigrant guest worker. So understand that is something that needs to be fixed. This is something that needs to be remedied. This is something that, the solution is not to ban all immigrants or get rid of immigrant workers. No. Immigrants bring a lot to this country. It's just, you got to do it in a way that doesn't exploit them. You know what I'm saying? Now, Sanders then took a final shot at Elon, saying, bottom line, it should never be cheaper for a corporation to hire a guest worker from overseas than an American worker. That's it, too. Look, guest workers, I have no problem with the guest worker program if that guest worker is paid the same as an American. If you really can't find an American willing to do that job or able to do that job, or, with the training and things, all right, bring over a guest worker, but you got to pay them the salary that you would pay an American to do it. Seems simple enough, right? And of course, you also have to abide by certain labor rights, and that's it. And not have these their immigration status tied to employment. Again, immigrants have a ton to offer our country. Nobody should want to have them be exploited so that Elon Musk and other billionaires can make a few more bucks. That's not right. Now, that said, not everybody's on board with Bernie. In fact, Noah Smith writes, Bernie Sanders is just wrong. And the fact that he never updates his beliefs is one of several reasons he wouldn't have governed the U.S. effectively. Data shows H-1B workers make more than their than their American equivalents, not less. Well, that's strange. What data is he using? Well, Sanders staffer Warren Gunnels pointed out that the study that Smith used is not only out of date, about 15 years out of date, but also from a group represented by IBM and Best Buy, who happen to be using the guest worker program quite a bit. And in fact, an EPI report from this decade, about 2020, finds that the majority of tech firms that use the H-1B program paid guest workers from overseas well below market wages. That report found that 60% of H-1B positions certified by the U.S. Department of Labor are assigned wage levels well below the local median wage for the occupation. Now, again, this is important because it kind of gets into the weeds a little bit, right? Got to get into the details and the nitty gritties. If you're comparing these wages, 60, 70,000, to the average, to the median wage of all American workers, then yeah, they would be making more than the average American worker, right? But when you're looking at in their field of specialization, which requires education, schooling, etc., and experience, then they are getting massively underpaid relative to what an American would generally make in that position. And that is why, again, Musk and these companies take advantage of the guest worker program. And getting back to Sanders here, this isn't the first time he's talked about this issue, right? He's talked about this issue quite a bit. In fact, back in 2016, he was talking about Disney abusing the program, saying that Disney replaced 250 workers with low-wage foreign workers who came in what is called the H-1B program. So in order to save money, what they did was replace workers. They got rid of them and brought in other people and had the tech workers train the other people. Now, if you're training your replacements, kind of blows the argument that there are not enough high-skilled U.S. workers right out of the water. All right, but that's what's happening. Look, at the end of the day, these companies are obviously beholden to their shareholders who want a return on investment. And the easiest way to do that is to cut labor costs. And H-1B visas are one of the many different methods that they use to do that. And when it comes down to it, this is all dollars and cents. This is all billionaires trying to save money to become even richer. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.